Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Stine and today I'm here with you for another yarn talk video. And as you know me these days, I cannot talk yarn. Well, I can, but I usually do not talk yarn without my faithful mug of tea, which today is a new tea for me, which is from a local store, not a tea store, but just grocery market, supermarket store, which is basically a morning blend, and it's basically called morning blend. So it's a biological tea, and it's a herb tea with, I've no clue what a lemon verbena is, though it's also having a fennel, lemongrass and mint. So it's like this fresh morning tea, and somehow it goes, I guess, sort of well today. I think it's a very chilly morning. It's very light and bright outside, very clear skies, which is probably one of the reasons that it becomes a bit chilly. And of course, due to that, I also wear here today my bolero, which is a very, very cropped cardigan, as you can see it ends here, to help my shoulders and arms warm. And this bolero, I do have a tutorial for. It's called the Barbara Bolero, and I will link to that tutorial in the description box here down below. If you haven't yet, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel and ring the little bell so that you get notified whenever I do post new videos, because we do have a lot more stuff coming up on this channel very soon, including, if everything goes well, later this week there will be a yarn haul from a hobby. And of course, I'm also progressing very well on some of my projects, where one of them will be the tutorial for the Virus Shawl. And the Virus Shawl is, as mentioned, making great progress, and I'm going to show it to you guys. And actually I'm going to get up, so please, sorry for the noise here, but right now, see, I can almost not have it all here in the screen. This is right now how the Virus Shawl looks like. And I am going to hopefully just need to wrap up the last 3 rounds and it's complete. Then I need to get it blocked. I need to get some nice pictures taken and wrap up the tutorial, and then it's more or less ready to go. At least that's what I hope. Everything obviously depends on time, and I need to, we don't have a bunch of room. Well, it's a bit weird. We live 2 people in this house, but we do have a lot of items. Therefore, it doesn't always feel like we have a lot of room, but I need to make sure we have room cleared out so I can actually block this whole piece. But I have to say, I really, really enjoy how the color changes throughout. And it's a little bit on the close edge because I do not have a lot of yarn left on the cake. So this is me hoping that I have enough to just finish off my last 3 rounds. And then, of course, my Virus Shawl is complete. If I don't have enough to finish off the last 3 rounds, I will have a very close look at it. And if it's only like very little, I have an extra cake of that exact color. I might take the outer edge from that cake to wrap up the Virus Shawl. I haven't decided yet. Time will show. And yeah, that was the Virus Shawl. I know a lot of you guys think it's amazingly beautiful. I do myself as well. And the pattern is just great. It's most definitely not the last Virus Shawl that I've crocheted. So another thing that's currently going on is, of course, my Blue Thunder socks. So it's a drops pattern, which I'm crocheting in the Mayflower class 1, first class yarn, which is a sock yarn right here. I don't have the label with me, but I actually finished the heel. This was my biggest pet peeve for a while. It's been laying around waiting for me to do it. So I'm going to show it to you guys, and please do not laugh. I do have some ends that I need to weave in as well, so please ignore those. But right now, this is my sock. And as you can see, I've started beginning on the leg, which is basically just all the pattern that I made on the front foot. This fern pattern that I'm doing all the way around here, from the heel and on the front. And I just need to keep cranking out the rounds here until it's like, I think it says something like 10 to 15 centimeters long. I guess it depends on how long you want it, basically. And for me, I wouldn't mind them to have some length. So for me, it's about stopping when it fits with where's the edge for how wide, how long I want them. And to the extent, I'm not increasing at any stage, and your leg does increase on the shin. So I'm just basically going to make it the length until that I normally would need increases. And that's when I will cut it off. And I do have at least 3 more skeins of this, and this is still my first skein. So this is my first skein, and I'm still this far. I had expected somehow to be very close to adding the next skein by now, but I haven't. So that's really been surprising me. But of course it is an area pattern, especially if you look like what's on the top of the foot, right? There's lots of air here. So it's not as dense as the single crochets you have here, or the double crochets that you have on the bottom of the foot. I'm looking forward to show you guys a picture of these. Let's see if I have nice enough feet to show how they could look like. That's again gonna be a story for another time. But I am really starting to enjoy the looks of these, and I'm really happy that I had the perseverance to go through with it, because if you have watched my yarn talk videos since, when did I start? This is sometimes back in November. You will notice that I've been like, oh, I'm not sure, and it's complicated, and the yarn is thin. I have to say the yarn is really thin. It's, I would not consider myself having bad eyes or bad eyesight. I do wear contacts, so there's that, but still, I should look or be able to see things very normal wearing my contacts. And sometimes I even think the stitches are really difficult to see. Now when we're up here, it's somewhat easier, but it's because of the thin yarn, especially when I had to add the stitches to here. That was really difficult. Those single crochet stitches, to catch those and make sure you catch the right stitches. Oh my God, that's a pure nightmare. And that's when this inline hook comes in really handy. So that's my prim hook, and honestly, that's probably the best investment I've made for these socks, is this 3mm prim hook. Because again, it's the inline part. So I'm not sure if it's how the yarn is plied, or if it's just because it is so thin, but it somehow feels easier to grab with the inline hook, and it makes it split a bit less. But if I kind of roll it, de-roll it, I may be able to do that. Moment. Let's see. You can kind of see if you de-roll it a bit. Has a tendency of easier splitting. And maybe it's just me not holding properly on the yarn, I don't know. But when I use the prim hook with the inline compared to a normal tapered hook, I have the feeling that somehow I managed to get this to split less. If you guys have any experience with what kind of hooks that you prefer to crochet socks with, please let me know down below. I think that would be really interesting to know. Though I'm not so sure how many of you guys do actually crochet socks. I know one of my viewers do, so I'll hear, I sure, what kind of hooks that you prefer. And the last thing that I am actually working on currently, one moment, The last thing I'm currently working on, that's what I wanted to say, is the linked Hearths baby blanket, which is this filet crochet pattern of hearts linked together. And I had reached so far that I had almost finished all the blue last time at the last yarn talk video. What happened was that when I was about to start the following row, I realized that my stitches weren't counting. Basically, I'd skipped a stitch somewhere. And what actually mainly had happened was the fact that when you do the fillet spaces or the gaps in the double crochets, you basically, you chain one, you skip a stitch, and then you continue your double crochets. Somehow I just made a double crochet, I skipped a stitch and did another double crochet and just continued like that. And I was trying to count where I made the mistake. And partially it wasn't that visible that the mistake was there, but the stitch count told me there was a mistake. And since I couldn't find exactly where I had made the mistake, except for I knew that I had made the mistake down at this sort of skipping gap kind of place, I decided to basically flog it. So I flogged 6 rows to fix up this mistake. And then I finished up the blue without any further mistakes, and all the stitches were matching and adding up. So maybe that was the issue in the first place. So since then, of course, I finished the blue and I've started adding the purple. And right now, this is how it looks. You can see I've started adding the bottom of the purple. Yeah, pretty, pretty, pretty. There are exactly 7 hearts. This blanket will be a bit wider than it is long, but I do believe that's not a bad idea necessarily. There will be another white row between the purple and the pink. So that's basically the top row is going to be this baby pink. I think it's called Candy Flush or something like that. I don't have it laying down here, the number. It just says colorway 37, but it's candy something. This is lavender. Regardless, I am doing my best to finish up this. And so far, I have to say, I'm surprised. It didn't take as much yarn as I thought. So this is a full skein, and this is what I have left of the blue. So that's reasonably positive. There will then be a border all around in white as well. And we'll see how that's gonna be when it's all done and complete. It's progressing really well. I printed out the pattern overview for it so that I can easier see when I'm supposed to do what stitches and stuff like that, and easier count. In the beginning, I had it all on my laptop, but I realized printing it would actually make for an easier overview, so I did. I was trying not to, but I did. So the yarn I'm using for this amazing pattern, which is, again, as I mentioned earlier, the Linked Hearts, and it's by Emma Moss. And I will link to that pattern also down below. All kudos to her for making it. And I'm not using the same yarn as they are, but I'm using an equivalent yarn for it. And the yarn I am using is this Yarn and Colors Amazing, which is a 100% recycled acrylic yarn. And for a recycled acrylic, this is really, really nice and soft to work with. It could probably be softer. The good thing is also it's actually easy to flog, because considering the fact that I've flogged it twice so far, that's nice as well. And it's very friendly. And it's light, so it's gonna be like a very lightweight, nice, snuggly baby blanket. It is a medium 3, so it's a 3-weight yarn, and they can be washed at 30 degrees, and actually it can even be ironed. But do not tumble dry it and do not bleach it, is basically what it says. There's 310 meters on a skein for 100 grams. And yeah, they recommend a crochet hook size of 4 mm, though this pattern said somewhere it should be 4.5. And I do crochet a slight bit tighter than most, so I also use a 4.5 mm for this. So that's a 4.5 mm hook right here. And I think that's about it for now. Next week, I hope to have much more progress made. And next week, I should be done with my Virus Shawl if everything goes well and I have enough yarn for it. If I've had the time to block it before then, time will show. Thank you very much for watching the video all the way to this point. If you haven't done it yet, I will still encourage you to subscribe and tap the little bell so you get notified whenever I do post new videos. And yeah, it's a pleasure sharing my yarn adventure with you guys because, oh, yarn is a nice thing, isn't it? And that doesn't matter if you crochet or knit with it or whatever. It's just a good conversational topic. Hey, I will see you later this week in the hobby yarn haul video. And until then, I wish you all the best. Take care. Bye.